This is a quick demo of something I've been working on that I'm calling Juice. The vision is that it's Vim for editing code. And you might think, like, we all use Vim to edit code. Isn't Vim already Vim for editing code? But I would disagree. In Vim, you have primitives like paragraphs and words. And to me, those aren't the primitives we care about with code. With code, we want to deal with functions and parameters and arguments and statements. And to a lesser degree, lines. But really, lines are more for text. Statements are the more important thing. And so when you're moving around using Juice, you use those primitives. So for example, if I press F, it highlights the closest function, right? Which in this situation is this lambda. If I go up here and press F, it'll select the closest full function. If I press Q, it'll select the parameters. If I go to the block with B and press 1, it'll select the first statement. If I press 3, it'll select the third statement. I can also do multi-cursor with like 1, 3, or I can do an extending of the cursor with 1 dash, let's say 4. And the other thing is that when you're editing code, you can make some assumptions that you can't make when you're editing text. So for example, if I want to add a new parameter to this function, Vim doesn't know that it's a parameter, right? It doesn't care. There's no distinction between a parameter and any other text. But with this, you do know. And so what you can do is you can say, when I append, I want to add a comma and a space, because I'm always going to want that. And this is a little bit intelligent. So if it's like a line per parameter, it will also add a new line and that kind of thing. You know, there's other options too, right? If I want to add it between the first and the second, I can select 1 for the first and then press the same key and it will do a similar thing. And, you know, there's other stuff we can do, right? So if I select the third one, I select A for arguments. You know, again, it works as you'd expect. You press Shift-I for append, and it does the same thing. And so there's these other primitives that you can use across the board. It doesn't matter whether it's a list or an object or a list of parameters or a list of arguments. You can always use the same sorts of things. You can use a number to select that particular one. You can append at the end. You can prepend at the beginning. And then there's other things too. So like, let's say you want to delete something. So let's say you want to delete the second argument. If you delete, it gets rid of the comma and the space. Because of course you want to get rid of the comma and the space. You're deleting the argument. So that's pretty much it. The vision is use the information that you have at your disposal about the language to make slightly more intuitive and more useful actions. You can use the fact that you know about parameters and arguments and that kind of thing to quickly move your cursor to where it wants to go. And then when you're actually doing something, at that point in time, you can do it a little bit more quickly because you don't have to worry about adding the comma and the space in the new line or removing them or what have you. Oh, there's actually one more thing I want to show. So something that, you know, you pretty much have in every editor is the ability to move a statement, right? So this is just like a normal VS Code thing. I'm gonna do like option up and down and it'll move it. And you can also do this via the Control K and J command in Juice. But what you probably haven't seen is the same thing work horizontally. And so if I go to like the arguments here and I select the first one and I do Control L for going to the right, it just moves it. And, you know, similarly, If I do n for name, it'll select the first name. If I do bracket, it'll select to all the brackets. If I select, 1 or 2 to go back, I don't really need to do that, but just to show you. Again, the same thing works. And of course, arguments 1, same thing works here too. So yeah, that's Juice in a nutshell. I'm still working on it. I'm still messing around, but I hope this is at least interesting. Let me know if you have any thoughts. Thanks.